Hi everyone. I hope that many of you have been learning a lot from your homes. But what about lab? Can we learn lab courses from the comfort of your homes? The answer is yes. At least for some labs like circuits lab, you can learn the essential lab skills if you have access to a computer and a circuit simulation software. Using a circuit simulation software, you can create a circuit on the computer screen using the mouse. Once you have created the circuit on the circuit window, you can simulate the circuit. Now, the word simulate means to imitate or emulate. So, circuit simulation is a process of imitating or emulating the behavior of a circuit without physically constructing the circuit. With simulation, you can determine much of the circuit's performance without physically constructing the circuit or using costly electronic test instruments. So, clearly, the convenience offered by simulation is immense because you can easily modify the design or change component values and understand how it affects the behavior of the circuit. Now, this is especially true when you are designing a new circuit because in this case, you are not likely to get the circuit working perfectly with your first design because circuit design is usually an iterative process. That means that typically you will have to go back and forth between designing and testing several times. But when you have physically constructed the circuit, say on a breadboard, modifying the design and changing component values is a time consuming affair. But when you have access to a circuit simulation software, all it takes for modifying the design or changing the component values is a few clicks of the mouse only. So the circuit simulation software that I wish to introduce is Multisim. Multisim was created by a small company called Electronics Workbench, which was later acquired by National Instruments or NI. NI is a big player in the electronics education industry. Another popular software from them is Labio, which you may have heard. But Multisim is not the only software available for this purpose. A quick search for electronic design automation tools or circuit simulation software on Google shows that there is a multitude of products like Proteus, LT Spice, or ORCAD, or NG Spice. But almost all of these are based on Spice or PSpice or their various spin-offs. Original Spice was text-based, which means that you describe a circuit using text. But Multisim is graphical, which means that you use the mouse to draw the circuit. But underneath its graphical skin, the mathematical analysis is still done by the same Spice engine. To download Multisim, you can go to the ni.com website or you can do a Google search for NI Multisim. So that will take you to the download page. You see that the latest version is Multisim 14.2. You can download from here. Yes, I have already downloaded and installed Multisim. Let's start Multisim. So here you see Multisim 14.2. Now, along with Multisim, you also get Ultiboard. Ultiboard is a sister software of Multisim, which allows you to generate PCB layout. So the circuit that you designed in Multisim can be exported to Ultiboard. Well, let's start Multisim. So Multisim is not a free software, but you can evaluate it freely for 45 days, and I'm using an evaluation version. But if you search the internet enough, you can find cracks also. Anyway, I'm using an evaluation version. Multisim takes a few seconds to start up. So this is the Multisim desktop. And so the first stage in developing your circuit is schematic entry. In this stage, you draw the circuit in this circuit window. So let's familiarize with some of the features of Multisim. On the top, you see the menu bar. Now, some of the menu options are similar to other Windows applications, while some are peculiar to Multisim. You don't have to be familiar with all the options in Multisim to get started. You will learn the options that are most appropriate for your needs as you gain familiarity. So, under the place menu, you see the component, place component. If you click on that, that opens the component browser. This is where you pick the components from. You can see that the master database is divided into groups: sources, basic, diodes, transistors, analog, TTL, CMOS, MCU, and so on. So the master database of Multisim is divided into groups, and under each group, say let's select the transistor group. you can see that the transistor group is further divided into families: BJT, NPN, BJT, PNP, and so on. So let us pick a BJT NPN transistor. So within the master database, under the transistor group and BJT NPN family, here you see all the available BJT NPN transistors. I can browse and pick a BC107 transistor. But to make my life a little easier, I can type BC here. So the components get filtered out. So I pick a BC107 BP transistor. Select and click on OK. And when you do that, a BC107 transistor gets ghosted to the mouse pointer. You can click at the desired position where you want to place the transistor. I click here. So that opens the component browser again so that you can pick the next component. I do not want to pick another component, so I click close. Now this component browser can also be accessed directly. All the groups within the database are shown separately in this component toolbar. So we see the sources, basic, diode, transistor. So you can more quickly access the components from the component toolbar. Now each component that is within the master database has certain properties associated with. If you select the component and double click on it, that opens the component properties window. You can see the label. So this transistor is Q1, and under value, if I click on edit model, that will shows the model, the underlying SPICE model of the transistor that is used, all the parameters for the transistor. So to draw a circuit, you pick all the required components, place them in the circuit window and wire them together. Once you have wired the circuit, you can do the simulation. For that, you can go to the simulate menu and click on run, simulate, run, or you can directly access the run button here. So this simulation toolbar, you can directly access the run button here to do the simulation. Now on the right, you see the instrument toolbar. Multisim has a wide variety of virtual instruments available. These virtual instruments closely parallel that of the real instruments in an electronics laboratory. So you have multimeter, function generator, wattmeter, oscilloscope, and so on. So you can learn good laboratory skills using these virtual instruments. So let me pick a Tektronix oscilloscope and I place it here. And if I double click on that, you see a Tektronix oscilloscope. This resembles the front panel of a real Tektronix oscilloscope. You can learn all the operation of all these controls just by using this virtual Tektronix oscilloscope. So this front panel is exactly the same as that of a real Tektronix oscilloscope. You can change all the controls. So let us begin with a simple circuit. Let us wire a voltage divider first. For that, I need a DC source and two resistors to wire a voltage divider circuit. So to get the DC source, I go to the sources group. Click on that source group. So now within the sources group, the power sources family, I see DC power. So click on that DC power. Click on OK. Now I place it here. Place the DC power source here. Click. So that opens the component browser again. Now I want two resistors. So for that I go to the basic group. Within the basic group you see resistor. So I can pick the exact value of the resistor that I need, but the default is 1K. So I'll pick 1K itself. That doesn't matter because you can change the resistance value even after you have placed it in the circuit window. So I'll pick a 1K resistor itself. I'll pick another 1K to wire the voltage divider. Now all circuits need a ground. So Multisim allow you to do simulation only if there is a ground. So I also pick a ground. Ground is within the sources group. Within sources group, power sources family, see a ground here. So I also pick a ground. Okay, and these are all that I need for the wiring the voltage divider. So I have placed. Now I want to wire all these four components together. Now to start a wire, you bring the mouse cursor to the terminal where you want to start the wire. When you do that, when you bring the mouse cursor near the terminal, you can see that the mouse pointer changes to a set of crosshairs. So that means that you can the connection is possible at that point. You can start a wire by clicking. When you click here, a wire gets attached to that terminal. Now you simply have to end the wire at the terminal of the component you wish to. So I click here. I click here. So the wire gets attached. Now I want to connect R1 and R2. So I bring the mouse pointer to the right terminal of R1 and R2. Mouse cursor changes to a set of crosshairs. So that means I can start a wire from this point. I click to start the wire. Wire gets attached to that, and I end the wire at the left terminal of R2. Now I want to connect R2 to the lower end of the negative terminal of V1. So I click here, that starts a wire, and if you simply place the click at the negative terminal of V1, multisim will choose the wire path for you. Multisim will automatically choose the wire path for you, but you can control the wire by clicking, control the flow of wire by clicking at some points in between. So if I click here, the wire gets fixed to that point. So in that way you can choose the wire path. You can manually choose the wire path. So I click here also. So the wire again gets fixed to that point. So I have completed the work. Now I also want to add the ground to the circuit. You can do that in a couple of ways. Now I can start a wire here and end here, but remember that you cannot start a wire from the middle of another wire. So you cannot start from here and end here. You can start from this terminal and end on the wire like this, but you cannot start a wire from the middle of another wire. So I have completed the voltage divider circuit. Now say I want to measure the voltage across R2. For that I pick a multimeter from the instrument toolbar. Click on that. It shows a multimeter. Multimeter gets attached to the mouse cursor. I click here. I want to measure the voltage across R2. Now to connect the multimeter across R2, I click here. So now I have connected the multimeter across R2. Now I am ready to simulate. So I want to change the value of V1. I want to change the value of V1 from 12 volt to 10 volt. So for that I select this, double click on that. That opens the properties window for this voltage source. I can change the label. So if I want to change V1 to Vs, I can do that. And if I want to change the value, I can go to the value tab and change the voltage from 12 volt to 10 volt. Click on OK. So now I have Vs with voltage of 10. Now I am ready to simulate this circuit. For that, click on the run button. Now you can see that the circuit is simulating. Here you see that the design is simulating, and this shows how long the simulation has been going on. In order to see the voltage across R2, I double click on the multimeter. And as expected, we see 5 volt across R2. R1 and R2 are equal, so the 10 volt divides equally between R1 and R2. Say now I want to change the value of R2 and see the new voltage across R2. I can do that, but before that you have to stop the simulation. You cannot modify a circuit while it is being simulated. To modify, you have to first stop the simulation. So I stop the simulation first, select R2, double click on that. So I want to change the value of R2 from 1K to 9K. Under value tab, I make the value 9K. Click on OK. Now I simulate again to see the new voltage across R2. So now I see that it is 9 volt. 1 volt across R1 and 9 volt across R2. Okay. So let us stop the simulation again. Now suppose that I want to measure the current in this circuit. So I need to modify the design. I want to connect the multimeter in series with R1 and R2. So I want to delete this wire. That can be done in a couple of ways. You can select the wire by clicking on it, and if you right click, it shows delete option to delete the wire segment. I can click on delete, or you can select the wire and simply press the delete key on the keyboard. That's often more convenient. So I press the delete key on the wire. I also want to delete this wire. I want to connect the multimeter in series with R1 and R2. So I press the delete key again on the keyboard. Now I want to connect the multimeter in series with R1 and R2. So it takes a little practice to become proficient in this wiring process. Now I have I'm ready to measure the current in the circuit. So I simulate the circuit again, double click on the multimeter. Now I'm measuring current, so I have to select ampere. You can see the current is 1 milliampere. 10 volt by 10k is 1 milliampere as expected. Okay, next let us study about an RC circuit. So I need to pick a resistor and a capacitor first. I go to the component toolbar, the basic group. This is a basic group from where you pick the resistor and capacitor. I first pick a resistor of 1k, and I also pick a capacitor of 1 μF. And remember that all circuits need a ground, so I'll also need to pick a ground. Ground is within the sources group, power sources, you pick a ground also. Next I want to pick a function generator from the instrument toolbar. Function generator is picked from the instrument toolbar. So now I need to wire this. From the plus of the function generator, I connect to the left terminal of R1. Remember I clicked here so that the wire gets fixed to that location. Now I want to change the orientation of the capacitor. I want to make it vertical. So for that I select it, right click on that, and now I see an option to rotate the capacitor by 90 degree. So the capacitor is now vertical. You can drag it to the position where you need. Now I wire the R and C together, connect the lower terminal of C to the common of the function generator. Now I also want to add the ground. Again, I can start a wire from this ground terminal and end it here, but I cannot do the other way around. I cannot start a wire from the middle of another wire. But I can end a wire at the middle of another wire. So I have to start here and end here. Okay. Now to observe the waveforms, input and output waveforms, I also need an oscilloscope. So I pick an oscilloscope from the instrument toolbar, place it here. I want to connect channel A to the function generator and channel B across the capacitor so that I can observe the C voltage. I also need to connect the ground. So now the wiring is complete. Now we can set the source properties. Now when I double click on the function generator, I can choose a waveform from sine or triangle or square. So I pick a square wave and I select a frequency of 1 kilohertz, and let me leave the amplitude at the default 10 value. You also have the option to set the rise time and fall time, but I leave them at the default value. So now I have a square wave 1 kilohertz and 10 volt amplitude. Now let us simulate the circuit. Click on the run button, and now I see that the circuit is being simulated. To observe the output waveforms, I double click on the oscilloscope. So you see the input and output waveforms. Now I have a 1 kilohertz source. The time period is 1 millisecond. So I need to adjust the horizontal or the time base here. So I reduce the time base to 1 millisecond. Now you can see the input and output waveforms. You can reverse the background color by clicking on this reverse button. Now you can see the input and output waveforms in a white background. Now this simulation is being repeated, but if you want to see only a single trace, I can click on this single button here. Now it shows only a single trace. So we can see that the capacitor is charging and discharging in an exponential manner. Now if I want to see channel A and channel B waveforms in different colors, that is possible. So for that I'll show that. let me stop the simulation. Now if I click on this wire which connects the capacitor to channel B, and if I select that wire and right click, shows a segment color, click on that and choose this color for that line segment. So I have used. Now if I simulate again, I can see that channel B is now being displayed in that particular color which I selected. Okay, so let me stop the simulation and modify the circuit a little bit. Now in this case, we have RC is equal to T, the RC time constant. R into C is 1K into 1 mu of it is 1 millisecond. That's equal to the time period of the source. So we have the case of RC is equal to T. Let me change the C value to 10 mu of. So the RC time constant is now 10 millisecond. T is 1 millisecond. So now I have the case of RC is equal to 10T. Now let us simulate again to see the difference. So you see that now the C voltage is very small because the time constant is very large. The C capacitor can charge and discharge only a little within each T/2 period. So let me change the volts per division of channel B. Let me reduce that to see the C waveform more clearly. So now I can see the C waveform. So now you see that the C charging and discharging is almost linear because we know that the initial portion of the exponential charging and discharging curve is almost linear. So the C voltage is now almost a triangular wave, or the circuit is acting like a good integrator. And let me stop the simulation again and modify the C value for one more time. Now let me change from 10 mu f to 0.1 mu f, 0.1 u. Mu is represented by the letter U, 0.1 u. So it's now C is now 0.1 mu f. Now let me simulate again and change the volts per division for channel B. Now you can see that the capacitor within each T/2, the capacitor charges and discharges fully because now I have RC is equal to 0.1 T, and we know that our C capacitor will take nearly 5 time constants to charge and discharge fully. So now RC is 0.1 T or 5 RC is 0.5 T. So within the T/2 period, the C can charge and discharge fully. So let me stop the simulation and let me change the input waveform to a sine instead of a square. Change the input waveform to a sine and see the output. Can't simulate. And now now I see the input and output waveforms. You can also see that the C voltage lags the input voltage, which can be verified if you draw a phasor diagram for this circuit. You can verify that the capacitor voltage will lag the input voltage for this low pass RC circuit. Let me stop the simulation again. Okay, to explore some more features available in multisim, let us once again wire a simple RC circuit. So from I pick a resistor, a capacitor, a ground from the sources group, and this time instead of a function generator, let me pick a signal voltage source, an AC signal voltage source. Sources signal voltage source, AC voltage. So let me wire these together. Change the orientation of C. I also connect the ground. So now I need to observe the frequency response of this circuit to see how the C voltage varies with this signal frequency. For that, go to the simulate, and under analysis and simulation, you see the various analysis options available here. One of them is AC sweep, where you sweep the source frequency over a range. So it does not matter that this frequency is shown as 1 kilohertz. We are sweeping a frequency from a start frequency to a stop frequency. Let me choose the start frequency as 1 hertz and stop frequency as say 1 megahertz. I want to sweep the signal frequency from 1 hertz to 1 megahertz. Sweep type is decade. Vertical scale, let me choose it as decibel. And under the output tab, I have to choose which variable I want to observe. I want to observe the C voltage. I want to see how the C voltage varies with frequency. But it shows V1 and V2 are the two voltages. I'm not sure which is V1. So let me cancel this for a moment and tell you something else. Under options, sheet properties, you see net names. I will select show all. Apply. So under options, sheet properties, net names, show all. So when you do that, some numbers 1, 2 and 0 appear. These numbers represents nodes known as nets in multisim. So in multisim, nodes are known as net, and as we know, node is a collection of points which define a common electric potential. So multisim automatically chooses numbers 1 upward in the order in which you wire together, although ground will always be 0. You can also manually assign a number. So now it is clear that C voltage is voltage at node 2 or V2. C voltage is V of 2. Let me go back to simulate, analysis and simulation. Under AC sweep, I start from 1 hertz to I sweep from 1 hertz to 1 megahertz, vertical scale decibel, and under the output tab, now I choose V2 because I know C voltage is voltage at node 2. V2, add it to the selected variable for analysis because I want to see how the C voltage varies when I sweep the signal frequency from 1 hertz to 1 megahertz. So V2 is added to the selected variable for analysis. Now I click on run. So that gives the frequency response of the system. We know that that's a low pass filter. So as expected, this shows a low pass response. You can reverse the color here. You can reverse the color here. So that will show a white background. So magnitude response as well as the phase response is shown here. Since we sweep set from 1 hertz to 1 megahertz, gives the frequency response. We chose the magnitude scale of decibel. So the maximum gain will be 0 dB. In order to read off frequency and corresponding gain values, we can use a cursor. So under here, you can pick cursor, show cursor. So when you click on show cursor, two cursors will appear. Two cursors named 1 and 2 will appear. So you can move a cursor to read off the corresponding values of frequency and magnitude. So this is cursor 1. So the x and y values are given by x1 and y2. So when I move cursor to x2 and y2 changes. The x position and y position of cursor 2 is represented by x2 and y2. This also gives dx, which is x2 minus x1, dy is y2 minus 1, y1, dy by dx, and also 1 by dx is shown. So using this cursor, let me try to measure the frequency, the cutoff frequency of the circuit, the minus 3 dB frequency. So we know that the maximum gain is 0. Maximum gain is 0. If I move to 1 hertz, it is showing x. We have to look at x1 and y1 because I am moving cursor 1 here. So y1 is nearly 0, minus 250 micro. It's very close to 0. So as I move cursor 1, we notice that x1 and y1 changes. I have to move the cursor to the position where y1 is minus 3 dB and read off the corresponding frequency. So I can try to position the cursor exactly at 3 dB, but that may not be possible. But one way you can achieve that is to right click that cursor and set the y value. I want the y1 to be at minus 3 dB. So I select cursor 1, right click, set y value at minus 3 dB. So then the cursor will automatically go to the position where y1 is minus 3 dB. So now you can see that y1 is not exactly minus 3 dB, it's minus 3.001, because we are working on a digital computer. Even though this curve is shown as a continuous curve, the actual analysis is done only on discrete frequency point. So that's why we are not able to obtain exactly minus 3 dB. Now if you read the corresponding value of x1, now this cursor 1 is at a position where its gain is minus 3 dB, and if you read the corresponding x1, that is the corresponding frequency, you can read it off as 158.78 hertz. So that is the cutoff frequency of the circuit, and you can verify. If you look at this circuit, you can verify that if you calculate the value 1 by 2 pi RC, that will be close to the value of 158 hertz, which we read off from the graph. Okay. So another type of analysis available in multisim is transient analysis. So let me show you transient analysis. So that means we want to see the capacitor charging waveform. So let me replace this AC voltage source back with the DC source. I can delete this and add that, but I can also double click this and replace here. If I click on replace, again the component browser opens up, and under power source I'll choose a DC power. So that AC source is now replaced with the DC source. Let me change the voltage to 10 volt. So to do a transient analysis of this circuit, we'll go to simulate. Under analysis and simulation, you see transient analysis, transient. Now let's set the analysis parameters. The initial conditions. Default is determined automatically, but I'll choose set to 0. That means the initial condition is 0. In this case, the initial condition refers to the initial capacitor voltage. So now the C is assumed to be initially uncharged. Now start time, will start the transient analysis from 0 to now the time constant is 1 millisecond. So let us simulate for 10 millisecond or 0.01 second, and output I want to observe the C voltage. So I'll choose V2 and add it to the selected variables for analysis. Okay, so I have set the analysis. I'm analyzing from 0 to 10 millisecond the capacitor voltage V2. So if I run, shows the C voltage. See that the C voltage rises from 0 to nearly 10 volt. Time constant is 1 millisecond. So in 5 time constants, the C has almost charged fully to 10 volt. Here again, let us reverse the background color and use cursor, and let us measure the voltage at 1 millisecond. So you want to measure the voltage at 1 millisecond. You can try to position cursor 1, the x1 at 1 millisecond, and you can read off the corresponding y1. That will give the voltage at 1 millisecond. Again, the easy way is to right click cursor 1 and set x value. X value I choose as 1 m or 1 millisecond. 1 m. So now you see that x1 is 1 millisecond, and the corresponding y1 is 6.3157 volt. Now this is to be expected. So the capacitor voltage at 1 millisecond is 6.3 volt, and that is to be expected since the C is charging from 10 volt, and we know that in one time constant capacitor will charge to 63% of its final value. So 63% of 10 is 6.3 volt. So in 1 millisecond, which is the time constant, C voltage reaches 6.3 volt. So another analysis available in multisim is DC operating point analysis. Let me quickly illustrate DC operating point analysis with the help of a fixed bias circuit. Let me pick a transistor, BC107 transistor, and 2 resistors for biasing. Basic 2 resistors. Another one. Now I also need power. So from sources group, Again, pick a DC power, but in this case, it is more convenient to use VCC because the wiring will be less cluttered. Pick one VCC and also ground. Remember, all circuits need a ground. So let me wire this together. Change the orientation. Again, use the keyboard to move. Let me change the label R1 to RB and change the value to say 150K. I haven't designed, this is just an educated guess, and change R2 to RC. Okay, and let us do a DC operating point analysis of the circuit. So under simulate, analysis and simulation, DC operating point. Let us pick the variables that we need to observe. So base voltage is V1. V1 added. Collector voltage is V2. V2 also we add. Now if you want to see the collector current, that is IRC. IRC is the current through RC, same as collector current. Or you can also use IQ1 IC, will be the same. So we will add IRC also and do a DC operating point analysis of the circuit. You can see the values for V1, the base voltage is 0.684 milli. V2, the collector voltage is 102 milli, 0.1 volt only. So that means that the transistor is in hard saturation. So you can maybe you can increase the value of RB and do a DC operating point analysis once again to bring the transistor into active region if you need. So that's it about DC operating point.